Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So, let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm your host, Leanne, and if you're listening in real time, Merry Christmas, because it was just Christmas yesterday. So I hope you all had an amazing day, and you created lots of new memories with your little ones as a single parent, because that's what it's all about, creating new memories and new traditions with our kids as a single parent. But today we're going to discuss a hot topic, which is one of my least favorite questions I get asked as a single parent. And it's not just single parents, single people get asked it a lot too, which is, why are you single? Now, I feel this question is really worthy of an episode in itself, purely because the question in itself, it usually comes with judgment, doesn't it? Because when somebody asks you why you're doing something or what are you doing, they're usually asking you that question because what you're doing goes against what they believe or what they feel should be right. Because if they agreed with your choices or they agreed with what you were doing, then people don't ask you, why did you do that? People don't ask, what did you do that for? It's just like anything. Like if they like something that you bought, they want to go, oh, why did you buy that? They will ask you that question if they see that maybe you bought a jacket and they didn't like it. They're like, oh, why did you buy that? With that hint of negative judgment behind it. And do you know what? That's where that whole single parent stigma comes from. And why? Why do we have that? Why is there such a huge judgment and a huge stigma on people that are single, especially single parents? And for me personally, I think that question is quite rude. I really do. And maybe not everyone has a negative meaning behind it, or not. People are not necessarily trying to be rude when they ask the question. But to me, when people ask that question, it's like, why are you single? It's like, in a way, it comes with the meaning of, or the question of, what's wrong with you? Or what have you done? Because why else would they be asking that question? And this is what blows me away so much, is I am happier now in my life than I've ever been in any relationship that I've been in. And I am so much more content being single now than any of my previous relationships that I've been in. And yet people still ask you that question. Why are you single? Because I'm fucking happy. That's why I'm single. I'm now at a point where I don't have to worry about anyone else. I don't have to worry about judgment from another person. I don't have to worry about someone questioning what I spend my money on, or disapproving of what I wear, or disagreeing with my goals, or telling me I should do this or go get a full-time job because I don't agree with my business choice. I am actually, for the first time in my life, running my life my way, and I fucking love it. And that's why when I get asked the question, why are you single? It's so hard not to bite back, especially when a married person asks that question, and say, why the fuck are you married? Because let's be honest, I see so many people at the shops, and you see those couples fighting, and you see them whinging at each other and narking, and you see it all the time at shops and restaurants, or you go out to restaurants and they're not even communicating. You've got a couple sitting there and they're both just on their phones. And I look at them, I'm like, you know what? That is why I'm single. Thank you very much for correcting or for proving my point as to why I'm happily single. You know, when you see couples fighting or when you see them not enjoying each other's time, for me personally, I'm not rushing into a relationship because I don't want to just settle. I don't want to just meet someone that we get along with okay, but then we go out for dinner and we just sit there and there's no communication. Or there's those narky arguments. No, fuck. I want to meet someone who I just fucking click with and they click with me and everything is fucking, I won't say perfect because relationships are never perfect. They take work. They do. But I don't want a fucking relationship when I go out together with him that we're going to look miserable to outsiders looking in. So that's what blows me away. Why does society think it's okay to question single people for being single when do you often see single people walking around and fighting with their friends in shops and getting angry? And no, it's people in couples that are doing that. It's coupled up people. It's people in relationships, or it's people that are in marriages that don't even communicate anymore. They're past the point of fighting. They've lost the energy. They've lost all emotion. They've lost all care factor. You know, when your relationship gets to a point where there's no fighting and there's no arguing back, but you're not happy, you know, there's nothing left. There's no emotion. If you don't even have emotion to care enough to fight with someone, then there's no care factor at all in that relationship. But again, that's my point. We and so many people that I see are so happily single, but we get the question and we get the judgment. And it's not just married people that do it. Quite often in the dating world, you'll get guys that ask you that question. Why are you single? And that question in itself, coming from another single person, it comes with a bit of slight disrespect. And again, it comes with judgment, because when somebody who is potentially looking at wanting to date you is asking you that question, why are you single? They're looking to find out what's wrong with you. That's why they're asking that question. Why are you single? In other words, what's wrong with you? Why have your previous relationships not worked? Instead, you could maybe word it another way. What are you looking for? Or even reframing it in a different way by saying, how did your last relationship end? That is a normal question to ask. Asking someone why they are single comes with judgment and comes with negative connotation as to what's wrong with that person. Because like I said at the beginning, you don't ask someone why in questioning their choice in something unless their choice of what they're doing is different to yours. Because if they were doing the same thing as you, you wouldn't question it. Would you question somebody if they were in a marriage and didn't look happy, or if they looked miserable? Probably not. And it's so common to see married people just bag their partners out. And I've heard stories of men knowing of other men that go out to games nights and stuff together, and they know firsthand that that guy is cheating on his wife. He's having an affair behind her back. And I'm like, fuck me. And you're not even ballsy enough to say anything? He's got a wife sitting at home, probably with kids. I don't know if they had kids or not. But this situation is not a one-off. This is common. Why are people in situations like this when they're extremely unhappy, and maybe extremely unhappy is an exaggerated word or a description of it, but if they were happy, would they be going around cheating on their wife or their husband? I'm not just saying men do it, because women do it too. So this is what blows me away, when you see married people doing stuff like this. And I guarantee that person that knew of that man that was cheating on his wife and having affairs with multiple different women, mind you, not once would he have said to that man, why are you married? Not once. But yet people still question single people. Why are you single? Well, fuck, that's part of the reason, because we're not settling for fuckwits like that. That's why we're single. So it's time that we find a way to stop the judgment and stop the stigma on single parents and remove the whole bias that comes with it. Like as if the single parents, or anyone single, mainly single parents, that we don't fit into the socially accepted relationship status, because being single is not a socially accepted status. It's not. Let's be honest here. It's not. Unless you're married, and you could be the most miserable couple in the world, but in society that's accepted. That's okay. That's okay. Even if you're not making an effort to make it work, people don't question it because they don't want to interfere. But why is it okay to interfere in a single's life or a single person's life? Like as if what we're doing is not okay. The funny thing is that a lot of people who I know that are single are fucking happier being single than what they've ever been in a relationship. Now, like I said at the start, I'm happier than I've ever been. And it's not just myself. I know a lot of people that are single, and they go through relationships and they don't last. And they don't last because they're not worthy of keeping a partner, or because they're not good enough, or because there's something wrong with them. They don't last because they know their self-worth. And they know that they're fucking much happier being single than having to deal with that crap from a partner that's not making them feel worthy enough. Now, we don't expect to be put on a fucking pedestal, but we do expect respect. And when we meet someone and it's not up to that level and we're not going to get that, well, they're not matching our energy, then we're not going to lower our energy to meet them. So if you haven't gathered already, I am quite passionate about this subject. And I mean that in a way that it really does upset me how commonly it's asked and how much judgment in nearly 2024 now we still get on the status of people that are single parents. Now, let me tell you this story, and it's actually quite a shocking story, to be honest with you. I know someone that takes photos, and they were at a situation where they were taking photos for Christmas, and they had the kids there. Now, I'm guessing the father wasn't there, or her partner or whoever wasn't there. It was just the mother and the kids. And the person taking the photo said, "Do you want to be in the photo with the kids?" And get this, her response was, "No, I don't want to look like a single mum." What the fuck? What the fuck? In this age, someone is refusing to have a Santa photo with her kids because she doesn't want to look like a single mum, even though she's probably got a husband at home, or I don't know what her situation is, unless she is broken up and it's a secret and she doesn't want people to know. But why on earth is that such an issue? Even if you're not a single parent, then what's to hide, unless you are trying to hide something? But why is that something to be so ashamed and so embarrassed of? And that's what she did. I never saw this lady. I never met this lady. I did hear of this happening, but why is it okay to belittle and speak down to single people like as if we're lower class? Oh no, I don't want to look like a single mum. Well, fuck, honey, you've looked even worse than a single mum by saying that comment. I can tell you that now. But fuck, the judgment that's out there on single parents, it needs to come to an end. It really does. And there is that perception in today's society that single parents are either incomplete or less desirable. We are made to look like there's something wrong with us because we're a single parent, which really, that's quite fucked up. It's quite fucked up because you know what? It takes a strong fucking person to want to get up and leave a toxic relationship. Now, everyone's relationship and everyone's breakup story is very different and very unique to their own story and to their own lives. Everyone is different. Some breakups are amicable, some extremely toxic. But for those people to get up and walk away from a toxic relationship, and even the ones to get up and walk away from a relationship where they're still amicable, that's just as ballsy in itself. If you're not fighting with someone and there's no argument happening, a lot of people think, well, there's no reason to break up. We're not fighting. There's nothing wrong. So for someone to want to actually break up with someone when they're not fighting, there's nothing wrong, and they were able to remain amicable, that's even just as ballsy. But it's also a sign of someone that knows their self-worth. And that's the thing with people that have actually had the balls and the courage and the confidence to get up and walk out of a relationship when they're a parent. So they've left a relationship with their kid's other parent because they weren't happy in that situation. That's not an easy thing to do. So the way we get judged for choosing to do that, mind you, some people don't choose. They're in the other end of it where they've been walked out on or something's happened. But either way, to actually move on as a single parent, it's one of the fucking hardest things ever. So I don't understand why people are not more understanding and are not more sympathetic and are not more empathetic of single parents who've had to go through what we've gone through. Because do you know what? I wouldn't wish my breakup on my worst fucking enemy. I really wouldn't. And I fought for as long as I could to keep my relationship together with my daughter's father. But it got to a point, it's like, fuck no. Fuck no. I deserve better than this. And I have some self-worth, and I am not putting up with this anymore. This is not on. There's a lot of people in married couples that do that. They do settle. But that's their choice, and that's fine. If you want to settle, then that's okay. But don't hold judgment on single parents, because we've actually had the balls to get up and do something. And the thing is, since I've been a single mum, I've achieved so much more in my life than I've ever achieved in any relationship that I've been in. I really have. And I've done it on my own, and I've done it with no partner sitting behind me, questioning me, doubting me, making me feel like shit, making me think I'm not good enough. I've done it on my own. So why would I want to push all that aside and just settle into any random relationship just to meet this relationship status of what's socially accepted? I'm not just going to settle for someone so I can't have people judge me. No, that's not on. People should learn that we don't judge. It's not socially accepted to judge someone on their race. It's not socially accepted to judge someone on their weight or their appearance or anything else. So why is it socially accepted to judge someone based on their relationship status? It shouldn't be. But why do people still do it? Why? The thing is as well that a lot of people that don't understand when they're asking that question, it's quite a loaded question because they don't know the person's background of why they broke up. Nobody knows that unless they're a good friend. And if they're a good friend, they wouldn't even be asking why you're single because they know the situation. They know what's happened. Someone who's asking you why you are single doesn't know your background, doesn't know your history, doesn't know what you've been through. So it's a pretty bullshit way to kind of come up and get to know someone by questioning their relationship status. Nobody knows why their last relationship broke up. Nobody knows what's happened. They could have been through the most toxic fucking journey of their life. But then someone comes up and says, why are you single? Well, fuck, mate. You would be single too if you went through what I did. And this just comes back to the question of what the topic is about. Why do people think it's okay to ask people, singles, why they are single? It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. And especially when someone's come from a really toxic situation where there could have been some sort of emotional or physical or verbal abuse. And I do apologize now if that does trigger someone. And a lot of relationships do involve those things. And if someone comes up to you and says, why are you single? How do they know that that relationship hasn't had any of those things involved in it? They don't know that. And what they should say is, oh, how did your last relationship end? Or, you know, how's single life treating you? Or are you happy being single? Fuck yes, I am. Are you happy being married? There's so many ways to reframe it. There are so many ways to word it in a way of getting to know someone or asking them if they're okay, instead of just saying, why are you single? And it really does come with a statement of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough. Because I know I went through a stage, and I did mention this on a previous podcast, where I've had my ex-husband and my daughter's father, they both put me through a lengthy period of telling me I would be nothing without them, which makes you question your choice of being single. But that's just the thing. And I think that's maybe their fear that they're putting onto you because maybe they're embarrassed of being single. They're embarrassed of the relationship ending. So they're trying to put that shame onto you, saying you'll be nothing without me. And that's clearly their toxic and unhealthy way of trying to get you back, thinking maybe if I say that, they'll think, oh yeah, fuck, I will be nothing without you. Maybe I should go back to them. And that's their way of avoiding being single because they're ashamed of it. They're embarrassed of it. But we need to, as a society, get past that embarrassment, get past that shame, and get past that feeling of not being good enough, not being worthy enough, and not being of a socially accepted standard. Because single is and should be a fucking socially accepted status. And what's even more surprising, I've had people come up and question me, or ask me questions, I should say, asking, what does your husband do for work? And then I say, I don't have a husband, I don't have a partner. And I've had people respond to me saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, why? Why are you sorry? And that just kind of, that again blew me away. It's like, why are people apologizing to me because I'm single? I left that relationship. I could have happily stayed. Well, not happily. I could have stayed. I wouldn't have been happy. But I chose to leave. So why do you want to say sorry? I mean, I guess you could say sorry if they've been in a situation where they've been hurt or something bad has happened. Yeah, that's fine. But don't say sorry because they're single. You can say, I'm sorry if something happened in the breakup, or I'm sorry if that didn't end well. But saying I'm sorry because you're single, that again is a sign of the single status not being socially accepted. And here we go. I have to mention this. I literally just paused this and looked on Facebook. Isn't that a terrible habit? We all do it. We stop what we're doing when we jump on Facebook. And I literally just looked on a singles page, and there's this guy that's got a profile on Tinder. John. His name is John. If you come across him on Tinder, let me know. I haven't seen him, but his profile has been screenshot and put on a singles page. And John has put in his bio description, no single mums. If you were a catch, he wouldn't have left you and the kids behind. What a fucking arsehole of a comment to say. So clearly that guy doesn't have kids, and clearly this guy has never been in any lengthy relationship. And yet again, that is another judgment on single parents, more so single mums. More so single mums. For some reason, single mums get more of the flack than the dads do. We look like the ones, because we're the primary carers of the kids, so we look like the bogans that sit at home and do nothing and they just live off Centrelink. I can tell you now, that's not how I live my life. But the small portion of people that do give off that whole image to all the single mums out there, which is not the majority of us. The majority of us work our asses off, work twice as hard, do household chores just as much, and everything else twice as hard, just to make ends meet. So for fuckwits like that to put unfucking educated comments out there, which really do nothing but fuck up what we are as single parents, and what we try to do to create a healthy life for our kids. If you were a catch, he wouldn't have left you. Well, fuck, mate. How do you know she didn't leave him because he was a fucking arsehole, which is what happened in my situation? Those kind of comments from other single people. That comment is from a single person, not even a married person. So if that's what single people are thinking of other single people, what the fuck are married people thinking about us? That's what is fucking ridiculous in today's day and age. Why is there such a huge fucking black cloud over the heads of single parents, more so single mums? And single dads, if you're out there listening and you disagree with what I'm saying, send me a message and let me know what experience you've had, because I'd fucking love to hear it. But it is ridiculous the amount of judgment and how much shit we cop because we've had enough confidence to get up and walk out of a toxic situation and put ourselves and put our kids first. So is that fucking arsehole John trying to tell us we should have stayed in a fucked up toxic relationship because of our kids, and that would have made us worthy? So we would be worthy parents and we would be worthy women if we stayed in an unhealthy relationship. That's what John is trying to say in his Tinder profile. Holy fuck, I feel like I need to get back on Tinder just to meet this John. So if single people are thinking this of other single people, like I said, can you imagine what married people are thinking of us? And how do we get rid of this? How do we change this stigma and this judgment towards single parents? Well, I guess the only way to start is just to shut someone down when they ask you that question. Flip the question back on them when they ask you the question, why are you single? Ask them the question, why do you think it's okay to question my relationship status? Why are you questioning if I'm single, implying that there's something wrong with me? Why does there need to be a reason that I'm single? Put it on them and see what they say. But shutting down those questions by reversing it and flipping it on them is one way to start removing the stigma. And it's not going to happen overnight. This is not going to change just by one podcast episode. And what's even more surprising, that the divorce rates and the separation rates and everything like that, they just get higher and higher and higher. More and more people are quite happy to get up and walk out and move on and start a fresh life because they're not willing to put up with shit. So with the rates that we have and the amount of people confident enough to walk away from a relationship, we still get questioned, why are we single? When it's not like it's just one person. It's a huge portion of people out there these days that are single. You see all those single pages. Every day you see so many new people joining because of how many single people there are out there. And let's be honest, it's not just everyone on that Facebook group that's single. There's thousands and thousands of more people, hundreds of thousands of more people out there that are single that we just don't know about. Some people don't want to be active in the dating world or in the single world. They're happy just to stay in their little bubble because maybe they do hold that shame over the head because of that huge judgment and stigma that is put onto single parents. But this is where we, as the single parent and the single people, need to step up and go, it's actually not acceptable to ask me that question. That's not cool, dude. So That's my rant for today. And I think us as single parents, we need to stick together and we need to stand up for ourselves. There is no shame on us. There is nothing wrong with us. We are not lower class. We are not less than married people because they have someone that they live with. No, there is nothing less or lower class about us. If not, we are higher class because we work fucking twice as hard and we do things twice as hard just to fucking do what you do with one other person around. So we are not lower class. So do not fucking look down on us. And it's up to us single parents to fucking not tolerate it when someone questions us or when someone looks down on us. And we need to realize that we should not have any shame. We should not worry about any judgment that's put on us. And when people are judging us or people are looking down on us, do you know what? That's a them issue. If they feel the need to judge someone because they're not in a relationship, that's a them issue. What's triggering them about your issue or your situation that makes them want to look down on you? Is it because they want to get up and get out of their relationship and they don't have the balls to do it? Why are they triggered about your situation or our situation, single parents, that they feel the need to not speak nicely about it? So next time somebody questions you, why are you single? Turn the question around on them. Question them for asking you that question. Why are you asking me that question? Next time someone looks down on you for being a single parent, you put them in their place. You let them know how fucking hard you work and what you do just to get by on a daily fucking basis. Don't let anyone look down on you. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're not good enough or you're not of a socially accepted status because you're single. It's time to put a stop to that bullshit because really fucking pisses me off. And like I said, even for that person to turn around and say, I'm sorry, because I'm not in a fucking marriage or relationship. And like I said, he wasn't saying sorry because of what happened in the breakup. He was saying sorry because I'm single. It's like, fuck, why? I'm fucking happy. I'm not even looking to date at the moment. If I was really sad and upset about being single, I'd be doing something and looking to find someone. But if I'm finding someone just because I'm sad and upset, then clearly I'm looking to date for the wrong reasons. And unfortunately, a lot of people out there are doing that. They're looking to date for the wrong reasons because they just don't like being single. And that's what a lot of people do. They've just broken up from a relationship and a week or two later or a month later, they're into the next relationship. Why? Because they're embarrassed. They feel shame on being single. They don't like what that single title has above their head. So they just jump from relationship to relationship with the same issues over and over again. They're not doing anything to better themselves, but they don't want to be single, but they're happy to go in all these endless relationships and all these dating cycles. Wouldn't you rather be single and work on yourself and be a better person than what you would to just constantly be the same person going in the same endless types of relationships over and over again? So that's my input for today. Let's put a stop to the judgment on single parents. Let's fuck this single parent stigma off. I've said a lot of fucks today, so you can tell how I feel about this question. So let's, as single parents, put a stop to this judgment. And to do that, we need to stop feeling like we are not good enough. Stop feeling pressured to feel that you're unaccepted. Stop feeling pressured to make you think that you're a failure. You're not a failure because you're a single parent. You've fucking got balls. You've got confidence and you've got self-worth. There is nothing less than, there is nothing failure about you because you're a single parent. And let's normalize this mentality. So if you see Uncle Joe over the Christmas break or New Year's break and he says to you, oh, you're still single. Oh, you still haven't met anyone. You turn around to Uncle Joe and you say, do you know what? I don't like that question and I don't agree with you judging me for being single and I'm quite fucking happy being single and I don't agree with you looking down on me because I am single. There is nothing wrong with being single and you should fucking not even question it. I am single and I'm happy and that's it. And that's what's socially accepted in my world and you need to accept that and stop asking me questions. And that's how we're going to stop the stigma, by shutting down dickheads that keep feeling the need to ask us this question. Okay, so that's where I feel on this topic. I'm going to wrap it up, but just remember, I've gone over this a few times. Do not ever feel less than. Do not ever feel like you are not worthy. Do not ever feel like you are not good enough. And do not ever feel like you're a failure because you are a single parent. That is not the fucking case. Being single is socially accepted. And don't you forget that. And if someone questions that, you put them in their place and you remind them that it is okay to be single and I'm happy to be single. Full stop. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to wrap this up now. That's my little rant. If anyone has any questions on this topic or has any feedback, have you been through a situation where someone's questioned you or made you feel like shit because you're single? Let me hear it. I want to know. Send it through to my Instagram page. Send me a DM. Or you can message me on Spotify. Want to hear your experiences of what you've been through as a single parent where someone's questioned you or made you feel not good enough or less than. Share it with me. I want to hear these stories. I want to hear what fuckwits out there are saying. Anyway, let's all stick together as single parents because we fucking rock. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. And until next time, I'll be in your ears then. Love you all. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplus1.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.